What is the most important source of information for us nowadays? Personally, for me, it's books. There are different kinds of books you can find. It can be audiobook, it can be a Kindle or some ebook, or it can be just normal physical book. So today we're gonna talk about all of them and decide which are good for what situation and what are the advantages of the books, audiobooks, and ebooks among all others. So let's get it started. Hello friends, this is Andrew Starling, and before we jump into the video, please make sure you put the like, you subscribe for the channel, and you share this video if you like it, and here we go. A book. A book is a very nice, so that it's a physical thing. People like to touch this book, people like to feel it with their hands, people like to smell it. Some books have very distinctive and very nice smell. Also, when you have a book, it's here, it's right here, you can touch it. And some books, they have signed copies from the authors. So, and it's very nice when you have a book with a signature of original author of that book. The normal book, conventional book is good, that you can write the notes on it just as when you're reading. You can put some bookmark, you can put some note, you can highlight the text and some important information for you, which maybe later on you will review or you will read in a few years later on. And here we come to the next point. It's a nostalgic value of the book. Yeah, it's kind of that thing which is very cool to look in 5, 10 or 20 years after you have read that book. And although there is one more thing, to be surrounded by the physical books around you on the bookshelves has some kind of calming effect. It calms you, you get more relaxed and less anxious. Physical book as well as the electronic book can be read aloud. Sometimes people like to read aloud the books to develop their speaking skills, which you cannot do with the audiobook obviously because you don't have the text. One more thing is that the physical book is a simple object, and the more simple object, the more simple it is in handling, and this doesn't require charging. You just read it, you have it, you don't need to charge. Unlike your phone or headphones you are using to listen to the audiobooks. And what about Kindles and e-readers? Yeah, you need to charge them, but the charging them is enough for a few months. So you don't need to charge them, often, and you can have that really with you and not worry about that at all. To buy a book, you need to go to the bookstore, and well, being in the bookstore may be advantage or disadvantage, but being there is a nice thing, just to walk through, to see around what books are there, to see the covers of the books, and to meet new people. It's making people more socialized, and you can swap the real books with your friends. Personally, I don't do that, but some of my friends, they do. They share their experience about the book, if they like it or not, and this is kind of a social network about the book lovers. So it's one more point to the physical book. This is also a very nice gift. If one of your friends or family members has a birthday and you know that they really like to read some kind of books, you can just give them a book. It will be a very nice gift. It has a special sentimental value which audiobooks or electronic books don't have. Also for me, sometimes I forget if I have that book or not on my phone or on my electronic book, and I may forget if it's there or not. And if I have a physical book, I can really see it, if it's on my shelf or no, if it's there or if it's not there. So it's very simple, you just look and you see. Well, that doesn't concern the cases when you have a libraries of the book. In that case, it's really more easy to find it on your phone by just search function. And last but not the least, the book is also only one type of books that is good for watching the pictures, graphs, or some analytics, statistics, or etc, because you cannot adjust it in a e-reader book, because that kind of information is not created for e-reader. You'll really have troubles on zooming that, making it good. No, just on a real book you can really touch it, you can turn it easily, you can zoom it physically, so that it will be the best variant if you're working with that kind of information like formulas, graphics, tables, etc. Ebooks. Ebooks, well, it's a kind of book which has the same advantages with a normal book. You can read it aloud as a book, and also you can read it with different voices for different characters, which you cannot make in the audiobook. But there are additional options which can be applied only to the ebook, and here we go. And the first point will be that this book is very light. It doesn't have any weight, particular weight. Well, the pocketbook has a weight, but the books are electronics and they're stored inside, so it's almost nothing. The physical dimensions are also less, and you can very easily take it for you during traveling times to the airplanes. It doesn't take much space in your hand luggage or even on a shelf at your home. When you have a ebook or a audiobook, you cannot have any paper cuts, with the pages, because when you're reading a normal book, you can sometimes get a paper cut, which is a minor, but they're kind of, frustrating people. And books that kind of like this, they can be shared with anyone at the very moment, and it's a really great time saver, not to going to a shop to buy a book or to borrow from your friend. It's a great time saver. You can send it where everything you want quickly. Electronic books as well as the audiobooks, they don't require paper for their creation. They're kind of eco-friendly, and it's a very great advantages for those people who are taking care of the environment. But some physical books, they have a special certification, FSC, which saves the ecosystems for the forest, and they are giving less harm to the environment. The electronic books and the ebooks are definitely cheaper than the physical book. It's a fact, and it's very nice. Ebooks and audiobooks, it's a kind of books that also cannot be damaged. They're not susceptible for physical damage or vet damage, and they're not susceptible for the mold growth in them, and it's very difficult to lose them, until you have some backup somewhere in the clouds or on your mobile phone or on your computer. Then it's nothing to worry about, unlike the normal conventional physical books. And also, when you have an e-reader with a front light, it's a very nice opportunity to read a book at night, because sometimes you don't have appropriate light to read a normal book, and if you have a book like Kindle or other brands, like I have Pocketbook, and when you have the front light here, then you really can just take it and read before you sleep. Like the special technology used on the ebooks, giving less strain to your eyes, and it will be the same as you read for example, newspaper or something like that. So you'll have less harm to your eyes, and it will be like a great thing to read on instead of your phone or tablet, which you already have. Audiobooks. Here we go. Basically, when you're listening to the audiobook, you have the same advantages that you have when you're reading an ebook. Like, it's very cheap to buy books, it's eco-friendly, you don't need to cut the trees in order to make the book, and it's very light, it doesn't take any space, and it's not susceptible to the physical damage. But there are some more advantages which are specific for the audiobooks. Multitasking. When you're listening to the audiobook, then your hands are free and you can do some other things during this moment. For example, if you are listening to the audiobook on your headphones, so you can do some sports, you can run, you can do yoga, you can take a bathroom, you can do some cooking in your kitchen, whatever you want, massage, everything. You can do it and listen to your favorite audiobook. This is one of the most important advantages of the audiobook. You can be in the bus, in the train, and not to spend time. If you want to make use of that time fully, then you have to put your eye on the audiobooks. Then, if you want to get the full use of the audiobook, you should use some wireless headphones that will help you to take the full advantage of the audiobooks. The audiobook doesn't require a constant eye concentration. Nowadays, every day we're watching quite a lot of time to the screens of our computers, tablets, or phones, and while you're listening to the audiobook, you're listening and you're not using your eyes, which is extremely good for them. Even with the special technology of the ebooks, your eyes still need some kind of concentration, and you have to be in the same position. You have to hold your book, even maybe with one hand, even if you have buttons to switch the pages, still you need to be in one position. You cannot move a lot with the book or with the ebook. With the audiobook, you have full freedom. You can even have a speaker and put it somewhere else in your room or somewhere else and just do what you want without being restricted in emotion or in any actions or kind of activities that you're doing. This is one of the best advantages. Another point in the advantages of the audiobooks is that you hear someone else's voice. Like, especially now during time of quarantine, we have quite a lot of time to do different things. Well, we are forced to do different things in our apartments. And if you are locked alone, I think for you it may be really important to hear someone else's voice. So it's kind of, in the situation when you have the physical books, you have some calming effect, but when you have the audiobooks, you hear someone else's voice, and it really helps. It really helps to, you may not even concentrate on that voice, but it creates some special background for you so that you are more convenient in that situation. And especially it's very nice when you have the audiobook spoken by the original author of that book. This is very crucial point, and it's, I guess, much better than have just a physical book with the author's signature, isn't it? In a situation when you're surrounded by very noisy people, you may be very easily distracted and not able to read to an ebook or a physical book. But when you have an audiobook, you are cut off from the external noises and you can put full force of your attention to the audiobook. Just increase the volume, but don't increase it too much because it may be bad for your ears, obviously, but to some extent. And then you can isolate yourself and listen to audiobooks and just to get some kind of meditation. Also, like listening to books, you can get different formats. For example, podcasts, which are very popular now, some chatting of people, and this type of books is very special because when you're learning another language, you cannot read something like that in a book or ebook. When you're hearing the chatting of the people, the slang, the poses, their reactions, their voices, tones, their accent, and the proper pronunciation, it's very crucial moment when you're listening to the audiobook, and it helps really. And this is not applicable to the books which you're reading. And from here it comes one more point, that when you're listening to a book, then definitely you get the right pronunciation, especially in relation to the names of the characters or to the places, cities. Sometimes I hear from my friends that they say some character's name wrongly, and at that point I realized that they were reading a book and didn't listen to audiobook or didn't check this information in the internet, and they're kind of thinking that they're spelling it right, but no, the pronunciation of that may be different. Also, when you're listening to audiobook, you can control the speed of the book. Sometimes if it's very easy for you to understand the book, you can speed it up at 1.5 or twice. Well, it's also applicable to when you're reading a book, but in situations when you need to fastly go through the book but not losing any details, you can really increase the speed of your book. Or even if you have some bad sound quality or something, like basic players for audiobooks, they have some kind of equalizer, and then you can cut off some high frequencies or adjust the sound as you want, and the sound will be better for your ears. That is also quite a major point. Well, you can read the book, physical book, slower or faster, but you may not get some special details in between the text. Sometimes you just swap around, between the lines, and don't get the full idea of that. But when you have the audiobook at a higher speed than normal, then you can really search through the book really fast and without losing any detail. And the last but not the least, that audiobook gives you some kind of additional privacy. Because when you're reading to a book, then someone else who's staying behind your shoulders can literally look or stare, and they're gonna read the book that you're basically reading, and sometimes it pisses me off, fuck them. When you have an audiobook, you're totally private, you're listening to the book, and if you don't put your volume to some extreme values, then the book you're listening to will be only for you, and you may not be scared that this book will be eavesdropped by another person. What kind of book to use? It's a question on your discretion. For me, mostly I read the audiobooks most of the time because in most of the cases it's the most convenient method, but in general I use all of them because sometimes it's easier for me just to pick up some book from my ebook, or when I really have time and I want to enjoy the book, I take the physical book. Or if I'm like basically moving, going to somewhere or riding somewhere, still it's not good to read even the ebook because it's shaking and you have strain on your eyes. But if you are listening to the audiobook, you can do that freely and enjoy the views from the window. If you're on the bus traveling to somewhere else or on the train, it's fucking shit damn good. Subscribe, like and share this video if you like it. Leave your comment down below if you found some discrepancies or you have a better point, which books are better or which books to use. Be sure I read every comment. The main idea of this channel is to improve my English speaking skills, because English is not my native language, bullshit, and to discuss some interesting things, questions and dilemmas that we have. So if you have some really good and interesting question, leave it down below in the comments and we may discuss it in the next videos. Well, by doing that you'll contribute greatly to the development of this very new channel. Thank you, ciao, see you soon.